Super Mayhem.
Hello friends, Tim here again from Super Mayhem, bringing you some more Game Genie hijinks to blast your NES off your TV screen. So straight up, I had never played Battletoads before this video, but I had of course heard about its notoriety. From prank calling the porn stars asking for Battletoads, to its intense difficulty level, I knew I was getting into something special here. Not to mention the game's pumping tunes on the pause screen. Released for the Nintendo Entertainment System in June 1991, and developed by the highly acclaimed Rare, Battletoads is a kind of beat-em-up platformer game that stars three frogs with names like Rash, Zitz and Pimple. What was the reason behind these names? I'm not sure. Maybe the developers had some serious skin problems and needed a dermatologist or something. Or maybe it was just the 1990s and everything had to have outrageous names. Anyway, here is a quick overview of the story of the game. Just a note though, spoilers ahoy, so if you don't want to know what's going on in this game, skip forward a couple of minutes and we will get straight into the game hacking action. So basically you're a frog, or frogs if you're playing 2-player, and off you go escorting Princess Angelica to her home planet using their spacecraft, the Vulture. However, all doesn't go well when Pimple and Angelica decide to take a leisurely trip on Pimple's flying car. They are ambushed and captured by the Dark Queen's ship, the Gargantua. Yikes! Naturally, Pimple then sends out a distress signal to the frog's ship, the Vulture, alerting Professor T-Bird, Rash and Zitz about their conundrum. From this, Professor T-Bird learns that the Gargantua ship is hidden beneath the surface of a nearby planet called Ragnarok's World, and flies Rash and Zitz there in the Vulture to rescue them. During the game's 13 levels, the Battletoads are faced with the Dark Queen's minions, like Big Blag, Robo Manus and Major Slaughter as bosses, and then in the end they face the Dark Queen herself, at the top of the Dark Tower. If you manage to defeat the Queen, she claims it will not be the last I would see from her, turns into a whirlwind for some reason and then flies off to space, retreating into the shadowy margins of the galaxy to recoup her losses, as the game explains. With Pimple and Princess Angelica rescued, the four are brought back into the Vulture and the game ends. As noted however, this game is known to be hard as nails, so much so that even in 2012, Yahoo Games stated that the game was still widely recognised as one of the most difficult games ever made, particularly noting the chance of players accidentally killing their partner in 2-player mode. I think the Angry Video Game Nerd made note of this as well in one of his videos. So, how can we make it a bit easier? That's right folks, it's time to dust off the old Game Genie and get up to some hijinks to beat this beast. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like there are too many custom-made codes floating around for the game on the internet. However, there are a number of stock standard codes for Battletoads. Some are useful and some not so useful. For example, the code PENVZILA starts off the game with 1 life, which is really not that helpful. On the other side of this is the code GXXZZLVI, which gives you infinite lives, which still makes the game near impossible to beat, but it certainly does help. Once your life bar hits 0, you'll still be reset to save points in the later stages, so this isn't really a true invincibility code or anything, just infinite lives. There are a few codes between for X amount of lives, but they aren't really that interesting other than to say they increase your number of lives to 6 or 9. If it's making the game easier you're after, then the following codes will hit the spot nicely. And no, that wasn't the Pimple joke. Or was it? Or was it? Anyway, the code GXEILUSO makes enemies easier to kill compared to regular play. What usually takes 4 or 5 punches now decimates the enemies in just 1 or 2. This naturally makes the game a ton easier, and you can breeze through the first few levels without too much trouble. Flexing those froggy muscles all the way, oh yeah! You can combine this with the super fast punching code, AEUZITPA, and you're in for one sweet day at the NES office. Plus it just looks amusing. Look at this little bugger go! This code is just fun on its own too, and almost has the same effect as the easier to kill enemies code in a way, but it still takes longer to take care of bosses and tougher enemies. Another code that is meant to help you, although I question its helpfulness, is EYSAUVEI, which gives you the mega jumping ability. I'll note that this does not help you at all in level 5, Surf City, at all, which is where I tried this code first. The code itself kind of reminds me of the codes from the Super Mario NES games, which also allow you to jump super high, or even moonwalk as they call it. It's not super useful, but if you're getting your butt beaten then you can make a smooth getaway easily. There are only really two more codes that will help you with the gameplay itself, and they are AOUKXNAA, which will give you double the energy from eating flies, and then YXUKXNAE, which will give you maximum energy from flies. There isn't a lot to say about these two, except they exist and I can see how they would be helpful whilst playing through the game. The rest of the stock standard codes are warp zones, which do at least let you see other parts of the game, if you're stuck in a part of the game like that annoying level 5 Surf City. In a nutshell, here are the codes for the different levels. ZAXAALAA lets you start on level 2, the Wookiee hole. It's not that useful of a code as it's pretty easy to get to level 2 though. LAXAALAA lets you start on level 3, known as the Turbo Tunnel. This for some reason looks like a giant brain, and it's actually quite hard to see pits and I fell straight down the first one. The next code, GAXAALAA, lets you start on level 4, Arctic Cavern. So here you get to throw snowballs at snowmen and even glide around on a giant ice cube for some reason. IAXAALAA lets you start on level 5, the notorious Surf City. Here there's not much to say except that you can hit logs and you tend to die a lot. TAXAALAA lets you start on level 6, known as Carneth's Lair, which is a weird snakes level that is annoying when you miss a snake. I didn't get too far in this one, but it's kind of an interesting premise for an old NES game. YAXAALAA lets you start on level 7, Volkmir's Inferno. Here you've got boxing kangaroos, dodgy log jumps, and then you get to fly a jet for some reason. It's actually kinda cool. AAXAALAE lets you start on level 8, known as the Intruder Excluder. PAXAALAE starts you on level 9, Terror Tubes. And you know it's a good level because you get zapped in the nuts by an off-screen robot straight away. And that's about all I got to say for this level. ZAXAALAE starts you on level 10, known as Rat Race. I died just as I saw the bloody rat that I was meant to be racing, so I can't say too much more about this level, other than I guess it's a race against the rat. LAXAALAE starts you on level 11, known as Klinger Winger. No idea what you are meant to do here. This weird ball keeps killing me the moment I hit this ledge, and there doesn't seem to be any way to speed up or do anything, so if someone has some advice, please let me know in the comments below. And finally the code GAXAALAE starts you on level 12, known as the Revolution. I didn't get very far, but it seems like a genuinely good idea for an NES level. You kind of move around this rotating rod and make your way to the top, I guess. So that's it for the Warp Zone codes, but there is actually one custom fan-made code that I found flying around on the internet, and that is YAOVYAPTTEEIYVT. This Game Genie code changes the title screen music to some unused song from the game. It's actually a pretty funky tune, but it doesn't change anything other than the opening title screen. Further to these interesting Game Genie codes, there are actually a few built-in cheats in the game that you can access without any peripherals like the Game Genie. For example, you can start the game with 6 lives, by holding down A and B simultaneously and then press start at the title or continue screen. If the cheat works, you will hear a neat little 8-bit sound and off you go for some extra lives. It does depend on the version of the game you have, so look out if you're using the Japanese version. I don't think it works there. This is actually similar to the game Genie code TENVZILA, which will have the same effect by giving you 6 extra lives. Another inbuilt cheat allows you to become immune to electric shocks in a 2-player game. Basically, you pick up your partner and place them in an electric field area while still holding them. If your mate does the same to you, then you will both not be affected by electric shocks. Since I didn't ever play it too, I'll have to take this one on faith though. There are also a number of built-in warp zones in the game, but admittedly I'm not skilled enough to get to them, so I wasn't able to record any footage. But they do exist apparently, so take my word for it I guess. Anyway, enough waffling on from me, so that's it for today friends. I hope you enjoyed doing some hacking of Battletoads on the NES with me. Don't forget to subscribe if you are new, leave a like if you can, it really helps and tells me if you are enjoying the content. Share this video with your gaming friends on Facebook and Twitter and wherever else, and I'll catch you soon. A huge thanks to Jacob Clark for being our first Mayhem supporter. Without the likes of him, I wouldn't be running. If you want to join the team, please consider taking a look at our Patreon page in the description below, for your chance to get some exclusive behind the scenes looks at Super Mayhem, and even access to some sweet downloads. You don't need to go and traipse through New Donk City for a great deal. Head on over to supermayhem.com for all kinds of video game related goodies. We currently have a 30% off sale on everything over $40, and free shipping, including Super Mario Odyssey related items even. Not enough for you? Use the coupon code ODYSSEY at the checkout for a further 15% off your order. Link in the description below. Check it out now.